Hello and welcome to another video here on the Mole RP channel. My name is ChaosMole and today we want to talk about 2.0 in Cyberpunk. No, I will not talk about Phantom Liberty because you have to pay money for it and not everyone wants to do it to finally fix their game, right? And also, do you actually have to do that to finally fix the game? The short answer is no. 2.0 is all doing it for you for free. Even though I was able to play Phantom Liberty when I was recording this video, like CD Projekt Red was nice enough to give me an early key for Phantom Liberty. 2.0 is the real deal. And the biggest change right from the get-go is performance. One of my biggest issues I had with the game was to run it at 60 FPS on ultra to high settings. No ray tracing. Because I'm also recording and streaming on the same GPU and it cannot keep up with that, right? And it's also not a 4000 series, this is a 3800, which is doing all the work. And so I had my issues on high to medium settings to run this game at 60 FPS. Patch 2.0 came out, I'm now running everything on the highest settings, which is high to ultra, and the game is running at smooth 60 all the time, no issues. And that is already freaking amazing. But I probably hear you, yeah, well, that's great, Mo. I want to know about the gameplay in 2.0. And is it worth it? Well, thankfully, I can give you that answer. And we have to take a look at the underlying systems of Cyberpunk 2077. Before we do this, let me make something very clear here, though, and this is why I skip over it. The story hasn't changed. Nothing has changed in the story of Cyberpunk 2077. It's as simple as that. So, gameplay. What has changed? Well, let's talk about the inventory first here. And the inventory got completely cleaned up. You are not getting items at every corner of the game anymore. What they have been doing now, they made items a little bit more rare, but also make them more important because items are now categorized in tiers. So you're starting with tier 1, which is gray, then green, which is tier 2, tier 3 is blue, purple is tier 4, and tier 5 is yellow. And the cool thing is, if you, let's say, love a certain weapon, like the Dion here, which is a smart gun, then you can just say, you know what, I love this weapon so much, but this is a tier 2 weapon, well that sucks. I can upgrade them now to tier 3, tier 4, tier 5, and I can keep the weapon till the end of the game. That also means, as you can already see here, they completely removed the leveling system on items. And that also means enemies do not have levels anymore. They are now the same level as you are, and again, they are all dropping like different tier items, depending on which level you have. Right? So, the level system is gone, and they are now completely operating with a tier system in the game, which is pretty neat and makes it much easier to understand what's going on. Also, what has completely changed is that now all your equipment doesn't have armor anymore, it's just cosmetics. Some of the items will give you some perks, like you can see here with the tech gogs, it will give me a bigger weapon zoom, or this net running suit will give me 11% quick hack damage resistance. It's not much, but it is a little bit. The only thing which is now giving you armor is if you are finding composite vest, right? They will give you some armor, but that's not really how you create armor and protection for yourself anymore. And we will talk about that when we are talking about the cyberware. Also, very important, it took me quite a while to understand this because I'm a dingus. You cannot have infinite amount of grenades and healing with you. As you can see, I have only 2 healing and 2 grenades, and they have a cooldown now. So if you were in a fight, you use your healing, the cooldown will activate, and you have to wait like, I think it's 30 seconds or so, till you are getting a charge back. So you don't have 65 healing items in your inventory anymore. That's gone. Now, let's talk about cyberware and how this became so much more important. Cyberware is now the place where you really enhance your character. And you can see it right here. This is where all your armor is going. So you are creating a lot of armor with a lot of cyberware. And you can see how much armor I can have before I reach the diminishing returns. And I'm not getting any resistances out of the armor anymore. And this is how much armor I have. Yes, I'm a glass cannon. Then, also very important, you cannot just put all the cyberware into you anymore as you like. There is now a limit. The cyberware capacity, right now I'm at 95. Yes, there are items and certain things you can find in the world which will up the capacity. But the easiest way to unlock this is to unlock it with the Edge Runner skills, and then you can just jack more cyberware into your body. And there are now so much more choices. Like seriously, they took the whole cyberware system and doubled it. You have now so many items which are also focusing more on going with the build you are trying to run on your character. Like you can see it here right now with the Kuroshi Sentry optics. They are completely tuned for my Netrunner build, right? Like this one is intelligence attuned, which is increasing damage I would do with Netrunner abilities. It also gives me bonus stealth, and it will also increase my quick hack damage. And it also helps me a little bit with some optical zooming and with cameras and turrets and all that. So you will find parts for different builds. They are parts cyberware for your strength build, for your melee build, for your Netrunner build, for your sniper build. You just have to find those parts. And yes, like the weapons, they are also in different tiers. And yes, you can upgrade them if you like to keep them. And the same goes, by the way, for the quick hacks. The quick hacks have been changed, that they are much, much stronger now. But if you're not really a Netrunner, you will not really use the quick hacks anymore because they are far too expensive and you need a lot of perks to really make it usable. So again, if you're not a Netrunner, you will not use your quick hacks that often anymore. I remember some builds back in the past where you could be the best cyber ninja with 0 points in quick hacking and still do insane amount of damage with your quick hacks. That is not really that much possible anymore. Well, it still is, but the Netrunner will do it so much better. With that said, let's talk about perks. Perks got a complete do-over. All the old talent trees are gone and they got replaced by new ones which are focusing much more on a specific path on how to play this game. Yes, that means you're maybe losing a little bit more freedom, but it makes it so much more fun. As you can see here, I put a lot of points into intelligence because I'm doing a Netrunner build, and I can now go into Berserker mode, which means I can overclock and I can use my own health to use quick hacks without having to look out for my RAM. I can just do it with my health. Or this one, Hack Q. I can put multiple quick hacks on the same enemy and do insane damage because of that. Also, they have now taken all the weapons in the game and put them into certain categories and certain builds. So smart weapons are my choice for an intelligence build, right? As a Netrunner, I want to use smart weapons because I'm getting quite a bit of perks for here. And as a melee weapon, I want to use a monowire. So they took a lot of the actually every weapon in the game is now under certain tech trees, right? Under certain talent trees. Like this one is focusing mostly on shotguns, LMGs, and HMGs, which is the body one. Then we have reflexes, which is mostly focusing on assault rifles and SMGs. Technical, well, you are mostly focusing on tech weapons. And cool is mostly focusing on pistol, revolvers, precision rifles, and sniper rifles, and throwing knives. We will talk about the throwing knives in just a second. But my point is, you can now focus much, much more on what you want to do with your build, and it feels so much better. It really feels like you are Netrunner. I have seen somebody who was really just working with blades, and you can now also reflect bullets and all that. Like they made it so that it feels like you are much more badass with your build. Speaking of badass, throwing knives. Remember throwing knives, how shit they were at release, where you literally were throwing your knife and that knife got destroyed and you had to just throw tons of shitty knives at the enemies to do anything? Yeah, that's completely gone. You're throwing your knife, you can go to the enemy and pick it up if you want to, or after like 5 seconds, depending on the knife a little bit, the knife will magically reappear in your hand. I know it's a bit like, what? Yeah, just go with it. It's fun. And there's now a real throwing knife build, and it's really strong. Like, the damage I'm dishing out already with the throwing knife is kind of insane, and it's very quiet. Yeah, it's very sneaky. Also, what they changed and what they kind of added is the skill progression. So this is something in which you can level by just doing things in the game. Like Headhunter, which is mostly killing enemies, right? You will get XP for the Headhunter, and then you will unlock permanent buffs. You can see it right here, right? Decrease visibility to enemies, increase the headshot damage, increase the damage against vulnerabilities. I get an extra perk point here, and so on and so forth. I know they had something similar already back in the game, but they streamlined it much more. And you can also now find shards, like Headhunter shards, Netrunner shards, Shinobi shards, and so on and so forth, on the enemies, and just pick them up, and then you are getting a bunch of XP, which will level you up, which is also kind of neat. Speaking of picking up things, there's one last thing I want to mention, which is rather important for everyone who is playing this. Weapons you can find on the enemy, they can be broken, and they will immediately be transformed into crafting material. So if you are sometimes wondering why you are picking up a weapon and that weapon is not in your inventory, chances are pretty high it was broken and you didn't saw it. It took me a while to figure that out, and believe me, I was sometimes upset when I found something. I was like, oh cool, a new weapon. Wait, where is it? Yeah, it was broken. Pretty dumb thing. Because they also reworked like how the crafting works, right? Like, not completely reworked, it's still the same, but you can do now much more stuff with crafting, especially now that you can upgrade your items and keep them with you all the time. And so I can say Cyberpunk 2.0 is so much better. Like, it feels now like a really good RPG with a cool open world where they also did quite a bit. And, well, the story, everyone has their own opinion on it. Funny enough, I haven't finished it yet. I'm working on that. So if you want to check that out, make sure to check out one of my streams. With that said, we are done with the video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope it was helpful. If it was, please don't forget to leave a like. And also, if you're new to the channel, you want to see more Cyberpunk videos, we are also doing Starfield, Diablo, and lots of RP games, because it's Mole RP, right? You might want to consider to subscribe to the channel. I would appreciate that. With that said, thanks so much for watching. I hope to see you next time. Stay safe. Bye-bye.